and I am delighted to have Shirley from I Ping Tai Chi here as my guest today. But before I bring Shirley on, I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about Known. In case you're not familiar with Known, it's a dynamic co-working community to create connections for entrepreneurs across their fields of endeavors, expertise, and experiences. We started at just a plain old co-working place in downtown New Haven. We're still the only co-working place downtown, but we've expanded into a multifaceted entrepreneur support organization. As a reminder, we have daily, hourly, and monthly plans for dedicated desks, office spaces, and we also have conference rooms and meeting rooms available for rent. If you'd like to know more about the space or want to rent anything, feel free to send me an email. You can do that at barb@knowncoworking.com. You can also check us out on our website at nhvknown.com and on Instagram or Facebook at Known Coworking or NHV Known. And you can DM us there if you want to do that. One of the ways we support entrepreneurs is through our virtual programs. So we have this one, the Connection Corner, and then also Digital Media Sync. You can catch replays of all of our shows for free on our website. So again, it's nhvknown.com and look under Known Live and Events. Digital Media Sync is now actually happening both in person here at Known on Tuesdays at noon with Julia Gambale, who's a social media maven. And then she's also continuing the live stream program. And this show, the Connection Corner, is for entrepreneurs, creators, thinkers, and innovators to share how they support entrepreneurs or to profile their entrepreneurial journeys. If you or anyone you know would like to be on one of these shows, go ahead and email me. Again, it's barb@knowncoworking.com. Our purpose in both the physical and virtual world is to make connections for people. It's to help people get connected, inspired, and known. In addition, we are about to open up recruitment for yet another cohort of the Knownpreneurs Growth Lab. This is a BIPOC business accelerator program. If you are in the Connecticut area, especially if you are in the New Haven area and you're a BIPOC business owner, you should absolutely consider applying. We're looking to work with people who are at the growth phase. So in other words, they've been in business at least 2 years and they have at least 50K in revenue in the last year. We're going to be doing 3 cohorts per year of Knownpreneurs. So if you're not ready yet to apply, make sure you check back with us in the future. And another thing that we do is we are now hosting in-person networking. Every Wednesday, we have Wind Down Wednesday, which I'm now co-hosting with Kim Weston. She's just come on board at Known as our entrepreneur growth liaison. She's actually a former Knownpreneur herself. And our hours are changing for Wind Down Wednesday. It's going to be 4 to 6:30 going forward. And we're at 139 Orange Street in downtown New Haven. We hope you'll join us any Wednesday. And now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, I want to introduce Shirley. Hi, Shirley.
Hi,
Awesome. How are you today?
I am so good. So good to see you, Barb. And thank you so much for having me on the show today.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to hear what you have to share because one of the things you said to me that really got me intrigued was that you had worked your way up in the ranks pretty high at Yale University using a secret that you learned in Tai Chi. And so I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear about this. So I'd love for you to tell folks some background about you and who you are, and then whatever else it is you want to share about Tai Chi, I'm gonna give the floor to you, and then I'll pop back on to the screen and probably have questions for you when it seems like the right moment. So take it away, Shirley.
All right, thank you so much. And before I go into introducing myself, I want to just also plug what a wonderful program Known is, and just how great they are for the entrepreneurs in New Haven. One of the important things to being an entrepreneur, especially when you're just starting out with your business, is having access to resources and networking and meeting other people to learn what helped them, what are some pitfalls to avoid, and the fact that Known does these networking free for the community is just wonderful. And I met Barb from one of these networking events. I was invited for a health and wellness industry networking event. And I met so many wonderful people, and I met Barb, and that was how I got introduced to Known and then learned all the wonderful additional resources that they have. So I have attended one of the Wind Down Wednesdays. It was great. And I will be doing some more because I love meeting other business people. So I came from an entrepreneurial family. My parents started their own business, but I saw the struggles of having your own business. And when I was younger, I actually said that that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted more stability, I wanted more security, and I didn't want to go through all the trials and tribulations of relying on your business for your livelihood. So I actually took a more traditional career path. I graduated with an economics degree from the University of Chicago, and I went into finance. And I grew my finance career, but what I also did as I grew my finance career was I also developed this love for martial arts. And it became just a passion journey for me in cultivating myself, in pushing my body to the limits beyond what I thought it could do. I was an athlete when I was younger, and this was just another way to kind of harness your self focus. And I pursued that for many years. And then when I moved to Connecticut, I discovered Tai Chi. And that is the secret that I told Barb about, that I am 100% confident, that I believe 100% that it was the martial arts training of Tai Chi specifically, the philosophies in Tai Chi that allowed me to then navigate my career. So I am known as the stress bender because I am able to navigate a lot of difficult situations, a lot of conflict situations without getting knocked down. And I think that, that's the secret, because in your life, you're always facing obstacles. And especially as an entrepreneur, if you're trying to present a new business when you don't have many years of experience behind you and you don't have a proven business model, you're trying to bring something new, it's like you're always going against wind, and everybody is trying to kind of kick your tires a little bit to see if you have a viable business model, if you are going to be able to achieve the success that you want to achieve. And that's why I think that my Tai Chi training really helped me to be able to navigate that part of the process, because in our training, it's all about getting pushed a little bit, getting put in an uncomfortable situation to see how do you respond in that situation. Might have just a little bit of a loss of balance feeling in your body. How do you react to that? Um, and that I feel, because I had that training, I was able to bring that into my experiences at work and also outside of work. And because there are conflicts that are around you everywhere. So, how do you navigate those conflicts? Do you tense up? Do you freeze? Do you get scared? Do you run away? All of those reactions will have an impact on your success. So, I was able to utilize the techniques that I learned on how do you not tense up, how do you relax and feel the direction of where the forces go and navigate around those forces. And I was able to advance in my career. And then I did the crazy, crazy thing of leaving a very successful finance career to take over my master's Tai Chi school to then bring this to the world. I want more people to know that these ancient arts are really relevant in your everyday life. So I also want to let people know that in addition to learning these physical practices, there are some mindset techniques that you can use just as an entrepreneur and business person, and especially in the realm of pitching your business. And it can be pitching your business to an investor or trying to pitch your business to a client, or just having somebody believe in you when you're not proven. So that's what I also want to spend a little time. And I'm going to touch on some of my prior experience in that area too, because I've always gotten the jobs that I am not qualified for. And that's happened throughout my career. When I was 25, I was the controller of a media startup company. It was during the first dot-com wave. And this company is actually, I think, the only media startup that is still in business today, heavy.com. And I was their controller. I never took an accounting class or finance class. I had a liberal arts degree, an economics degree, but I was the controller of that media startup. When I came to Yale, I was the manager of financial reporting and analysis for Yale. And that's the role that's in charge of the audited financial statements, the annual report. Usually, you have to be a CPA to get that job. And I didn't have a CPA because I never took an accounting class, but that was my role. And then after I was in that role for quite a few years, Yale created a position for me to be their director of finance training and development. And I also launched the finance leadership development program at the university, where we recruited the top students from the major colleges into our elite financial planning and analysis department. So I headed that up. And I didn't have learning and development as an part of my experience. It was because I was the unofficial trainer at the university. So they created that role for me. So, how was I able to get people to believe in me to be able to do these jobs where I had no proven record? So that's what I want to talk about today. So, Barb, let me know if you want to come in and chime in uh, about that, because
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really amazing to me. That I'm like, tell me more. So, what is, because what you're talking about is precisely what entrepreneurs do, is they have to say, I can do this thing, but I don't have a proven record. I mean, maybe some of them do, like maybe they've been a chef for years,
Mhm.
right? But they've never actually run a business. They've just worked in someone else's business. But, you know, how do they prove to somebody, how do they get someone on board to believe, yeah, I believe you can do this thing that you say that you're doing, even though you don't have the typical credentials we're looking for? So tell me more. Like, what
Yeah,
is it?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good, good. So, this is the important thing that I want people to realize is people get hung up on trying to prove their resume. And if you're doing that, then you're not allowing people to see what you can do going forward. So people are always trying to prove their credentials, and one of the and you might get pushed to try to prove your credentials because that's the way a client or investor can have information that you can do the job. Because ultimately, that's what they want to know. So I'm going to put on my recruiter hat now. As the recruiter and the person in charge of our finance leadership development program at Yale, Yale University has the most complicated set of finances. It is not easy. You can't be prepared for it. It doesn't matter what job you had before. It doesn't prepare you for doing that job. So it's about whether you have the capability of learning and doing. And that's what we always recruited based on is okay, do we believe that you have the ability to come in to learn what we're going to teach you and then do it without falling apart? And ultimately, that's what everybody is looking at you to see. Are you going to be able to take our money and make something of it and grow it? Are you going to be able to take our money and deliver the product that we want you to? And or are you going to crumble when the going gets hard? So I want people to know that the resume is important to get you that meeting. So if you already got that meeting, that means that you have the credentials. If you didn't have the credentials, you wouldn't have gotten that meeting to begin with. People are too busy to meet with people who they don't think are qualified. So if you already got the meeting, then that means that you already have the credentials. Now, the next phase is letting them see that you can do the job, that you are worth them investing their time and their money into you. And that's no longer about your resume. That is a connection that you make with the person to give them confidence that you can do whatever it is that might come up. And the thing that is going to come up is going to be brand new. So your resume doesn't actually prepare you for whatever is going to come up because everything is new tomorrow. There's going to be a new situation. The client situation is going to be new. The system might be new. The environment might be new. Who was prepared for COVID to hit?
Right.
Who's prepared for that next whatever is going to come up. So the reason why people want your references and all of that is because they want a way to know that they can rely on you. But even better than that is making the connection with them to authentically show confidence in yourself and your abilities. And that can't be faked. And I think that the best way to be authentically confident in your abilities is to believe in your service or your product. I see a lot of entrepreneurs who go into business because they think that whatever business they go into is a good idea. They did some market research, and on paper, it was a good business idea. But the conviction wasn't there. And I think that there's an equation that entrepreneurs should remember. And the equation is uh, other people's willingness to believe in your business is less than your own conviction in the value of your business.
Love it.
So if you have very little conviction on the value of yourself and your business, other people's willingness to invest in you is going to be less. So the most important ingredient is your own conviction and what you have to offer. And it can't just be something that you did some Google Trends research and saw, oh, this is a great business opportunity, so I'm going to do that. Then you're missing that real conviction, and you can't convey authentically that you really believe in this. If you don't believe in it, other people aren't going to believe in it. You can't fake that. So that is just being honest about what you really want, and then feeling the confidence to do it because it's something that you have conviction on, and putting all of your intention into making it happen. So the thing with Tai Chi, we go back to Tai Chi training, is we don't think about what we want to do. We feel what we want to do because we're tapped in. Our mind and our bodies are connected. So it is mind, body, listening to the force, and we do it all together as one. If you're thinking one thing, you're saying something else, doing something else, all of that disconnection prevents you from channeling everything into one direction. So, in Tai Chi, you kind of simplify everything to distill it into this is the one direction, and we're all going to go there. Mind, body, breath, everything goes in that direction, not overthinking. So that I think is also something that is really important, because so many people, they exist up here in their mind overthinking everything, when your body actually knows what it needs to do. And if you can stop overthinking and start connecting more with what the body feels is right to do, then you can make a more honest and authentic connection with other people. Because that is so, you hear about body language, and there are body language experts that will try to distill, how to interpret body language. But body language is something that is deeper than uh, observational. Like, it's something that you sense. Like, when somebody walks into the room, you get a sense of who they are when they walk in. And that is when you want to give a sense to people when they see you coming in, that you know who you are, you know what you're about, and when you go in to give your presentation or give your talk or give your pitch, that you believe in it all the way down into your feet. Like, you feel it in your pores, what you're about, rather than trying to think about the right thing to say or presenting the right words.
I muted myself because there was noise in the background. I hope you couldn't hear it. But so what I heard you saying was everything comes into alignment. What you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing all comes into alignment, and that makes so much sense to me
Yeah,
because I've learned how to live my life in alignment, not just my individual actions. Whereas
exactly.
prior to my getting into 12-step recovery, I didn't know that I wasn't living my life in alignment, but being in alignment really matters. And so I also feel like that helps me understand when you're talking about the confidence. Like, if you have this conviction, if you truly believe to the core of your being, what I have here matters,
Mhm.
um, then of course your body language is going to follow along with it. But if you're not really sure that what you have is something that is going to be of value to other people, is going to matter in their lives, it's going to come across. So,
Yeah, Mhm.
Like, did you know all these principles beforehand? Because I'm wondering, like, why did you even apply to it? Because so many people, especially women, will not apply for jobs unless they meet, like 100% of the criteria. I know I've heard some data, like men apply for jobs that they're 60% qualified for, and women apply for jobs that they're like 100% qualified for. So did you
I
know all this stuff before
no,
you
so
applied for it?
I didn't apply for that job.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that job was because, and this just goes to networking. I think that, this is another area where women, they are applying for a lot of jobs, but the best jobs aren't applied for,
Right, right.
because you have, if you give the um, perception, if people see what you are able to do, and then something opens up
Hmm.
and they think of you, then like that's really all of my best jobs came from that way. I actually have applied to very few jobs. A lot of the jobs people have approached me for, and that's because they knew that I was good at what I did, and
Right.
and it's not just my technical ability in the financial realm. That wasn't what I was good at. There are many, many people who were more technical than me. What I was always good at, and this was because I think I came from an entrepreneurial background where my parents had their own business. Every job I had, I always viewed it as my business, that I always aligned my goals with the company's goals. And it was always, how do I do what I want to do to do the best that I could do that aligned with what my boss wanted to do, the best that he could do that aligned with the company's goals.
Right.
And I always like just put all of my effort to channel that, and that then would give me good results. And the job that opened up was because, and that was chance. You sometimes there is just luck because you were at the right place at the right time, and this was during the dot-com boom. So there were there were new dot-coms that were born every minute. There's startups that happening every minute, and this was my husband's coworker's husband who started up this media company, and he and his partner started it up, and they were growing so fast that they needed somebody to be in charge of the finances. They needed a controller, and they had investors that they needed to make sure that their finances were in order. They had processes, and they could build a whole operations structure. And they, because we knew each other and because we had been friends over the years, and they've seen where my career grew and what I was able to do, what they needed was not somebody who had all the technical expertise. What they needed was somebody who was going to work just as hard as they would, who wanted to make this the best company it could possibly be, and to work with the team to grow based on the culture and values that they formed around it. So that's why I got that job, was because, not because of the technical ability. There were other people who could technically do it better than me, but they believed in my conviction that I would be there in the trenches with them.
Right. So, did it take you a few years to pick up on this pattern of yours of continually getting jobs that you weren't qualified for, or were you aware of it
I was aware that it was happening, and I always Uh, listen to my mentors. I had very many mentors. It was one of those things that made a lot of sense to me. Not like the official mentors that you get assigned to. Some companies will do that, but reaching out to people who uh, I could tell were rooting for me to succeed. That and I thought would that I really respected, and there were the things that they had qualities about them, and I listened to their advice. I never really looked at my career as a I need to advance my career because this is my career kind of thing. I always just observed, and I think this is where the Tai Chi part of things really helped because I can let go of things very easily. And um, if I'm going down one path and I realize that this is starting to not be right, I'm kind of going fighting upstream, then finding the other path that it goes more downstream or just fits a little bit better because that is what we have to do. Like so much, so often we get wrapped up in what we want, like we really, really want this one thing, and we're gonna put all of our eggs in this basket, and it might not even be conviction anymore. It may just be because we put so much attachment to it, and then it's become an ego thing where I've kind of wrapped my identity around this, and I have to make this work. And um, sometimes you have to just let that go. That may not be the path. And if you let go of ego, if you just kind of see what else is around that and where the currents are flowing and go another way, then you'll find the easier path.
I just realized I forgot to put up the banners so
Oh,
people could find you. So I'm putting them up now. I should have put them up earlier. I apologize for that. But this is really helpful. And I think I'm identifying what I grew up. My dad opened up a pharmacy when I was 8, and I started getting off the toolbox at Mangles Pharmacy when I was 8 years old. So I literally grew up in a small business.
hmm
And I started working for him when I was 11, started getting paid for working for him when I was 12, and I found that when I went out into the world of work, I was a better worker than 95% of the people I worked with.
Yeah.
And it was, I always thought of it as conscientiousness, and that's kind of what you're talking about, if you want to
hmm
call it that. And one example I can remember, and another thing, I always ended up, I had a lot of jobs before I also worked for Yale University as my career, and I had a lot of jobs before then, and every job, every single job, regardless of industry, I ended up training new people. It
hmm
just was. And so this one restaurant I worked in, I was training a new waitress, and I said, here's the thing, ultimately what you want is for the customers to come back to this restaurant and ask for you as a
hmm
waitress. Barring that, you at least want them to come back to the restaurant.
Yes.
Because the more people that come back to the restaurant, the more successful the restaurant is, the more money goes into your pocket. And the manager heard me tell this to an employee, and she was like, where did you hear that? And I was like, I didn't hear it anywhere. It's just how I think.
hmm
Because I was really taught like good customer service matters. That matters more than any, your product or service or whatever, of course matters. Of course.
Yes.
Most people can do that, but really good customer service matters, and that's the conscientiousness. And so,
Absolutely.
and then this goes back to like the alignment. Like if you're, what I was telling the waitress is you want to align your interest with the restaurant, which is essentially what you were saying too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Except for
think
you weren't using restaurant.
Yeah, but it's true. Like whatever industry, that is the truth because if you can really focus. Like everybody has so much potential for success. Like I truly believe that every single person has tremendous potential for success. I personally have never met a single person that I have thought this person is completely hopeless. Like
Right.
like everybody has the potential.
Mhm.
It's just about channeling that potential because so when you work with force, ultimately what I do is a martial art, and I want to direct all of my force in one direction to maximize what comes out. If you think about plumbing and leaks in the plumbing, what then comes out at the end is you're not going to have everything. There's going to be a lot that comes in and it's going to leak out everywhere and very little comes out. But if you can channel all of that to come out in one direction, just how powerful that is.
Great metaphor. I love it. I
Yeah.
love a metaphor too. I love that.
So
So,
that's where, like, all of these, like, when you're in your own head trying to figure things out because, oh, this person said this advice and YouTube told me this, but then this person said this, all of that is distracting and um, making you kind of, leak out your potential.
right.
If you can channel it all in one direction that
Mhm.
is authentically meaningful to you
I love it.
because you
Yeah.
feel it in here
Mm, mm.
and you
This is
focus all of
making,
it.
yeah, this is making me think of why, like, for example, having a mission statement is so important
Yes.
because everything you do in your business needs to be aligned with your mission statement. What is
Yeah.
your mission? And if it's not on mission, then we're not doing it.
Right.
Right? So that I think alignment is the most important concept that I'm getting out of these. So we
Yeah.
need to start wrapping up. So is there anything that you meant to touch on that you haven't had an opportunity to touch on yet?
I think the final thing that I would say is if you're going in, so this is a message to the entrepreneurs and the business, new business owners that are out there trying to make their business and make their pitch, to not focus so much on the what you say, the technical details of the presentation, the words, memorizing your script. The thing to put your effort on is to have that conviction of what you're doing and making that believable to yourself so that when somebody is listening to you talk about it, they believe you because the words that they're not going to remember the words that you say. Right? They hear things every day. They're not going to remember the words that you say. What they will remember is what they felt about you while you were saying it. So, what you want them to leave that room feeling is this person really believes in what they're doing. And I can have faith that if I invest my dollar in them or give my business to them, that they will be able to do the job because they believe in what they're doing. Like, if you can convey that message, then you will be so much more successful in pitching your business and gaining your clients because ultimately they're putting their faith and investment in you, not your business. So you want to make that authentic connection with them that you know where you're going and you're going to do that with them on this journey together.
Love it.
Yeah.
And before we go, you
Uh, yes. So we are in Milford, Connecticut. We have been teaching Tai Chi to the community for over 25 years now. My teacher, Grandmaster I Ping Cheng, she's one of the world's most renowned Chinese martial artists, like just very, very, very famous. But she is retired in Austin, Texas. And back in 2017, when she made that move, I decided to leave my Yale career to take it over. So I have been running it, and what I'm trying to do is take this authentic, ancient, and esoteric art and trying to introduce it to people today in our stressful modern life where things are so complicated that there's actually this ancient art that if you learn it, it can help make your life just easier to live. I really do believe that Tai Chi is that secret scroll that we, have all been looking for to help us make life easier, because I found that that's what happened for me. So that's why I left my young career. I told Barb, I think I told you that I calculated how much. Did I tell you that? I
No, I
calculated
don't think so.
out. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I calculated out how much I left on the table. If I count up the salary that I gave up, I was going to retire early with full pension at age 55. That was my original plan, was at age 55, I would retire early. And at that point, I would take over the Tai Chi school kind of more as a leisurely activity. By then, my master would retire. I could then teach Tai Chi because I loved it, but I would have my full pension, and Yale would pay all the benefits, the child scholarship benefits. So calculated out how much I left on the table. It came out to be over $5 million.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So that's how much I left on the table, because I believe that Tai Chi will change the world. Like, if more people learn this art, then they will have a better life and the world would be a better place. So that's my conviction.
Right, and if that's not conviction, I don't know what is. And so that's an excellent way to wrap up the show because you're embodying the conviction that you were talking about. So, well, thank you so much, Shirley. If you don't mind, I'm going to take you off the air, but if you wouldn't mind sticking around for a couple minutes while I wrap
Yeah,
up. All
absolutely.
right,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you so much for having me on.